All right, welcome to this SevOne how-to video. In this video, I'm Brian Promise, joined today by Alec Artosky, and Alec is going to show you what a Sankey diagram is used for, and how customers get value out of it. And as I look at many things with using data insight, it's kind of like Rod Stewart's old song, Alec. Every picture tells a story, right? And I think there's no better picture you can build inside data insight, and then Sankey diagrams show up flow. So with that, Alec, why don't you give folks a little idea more about the how and the why around Sankey diagrams.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. I have to say I'm more of a Maggie May person myself, but what can you do?
But I'm not going to be humming Maggie May all day now, Alex. So thank you.
So yeah, Brian, and I have to agree, I'm very much like you where I'm a visual learner, and these Sankey diagrams, not only do they represent the data in a very effective way, but it actually makes sense. So when you look at a report, a lot of times in numbers on a table, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what this is a representation of. Sankey diagrams take that data and turn it into a visual representation. So in the case that we have here, we've selected a particular flow view, which is we're looking at our top conversations with a particular application and a TOS. Now, what is great about the way that these Sankey diagrams work are that it is an actual logical representation of how this traffic is flowing from point A to point B. In this case, in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the actual path that we're following. So we're starting here with the application IP address. We're then moving through to the client IP address. You can actually see the system is directing you from A to B, and it's telling you how much traffic is flowing. And what's cool is that you can see that each one of these lines represent a path that the application is taking to a particular client. So not only am I seeing what application and ultimately the direction that we're traveling, but we get to see how much traffic is being passed and to whom. So we can see that we're going from.
The bigger the line, the more the traffic. Is that the
exactly?
Way to think better. Okay.
The larger your line would be, the more traffic that's flowing. As well as if you hover over this, it tells you specifically how much traffic is actually being passed. At the top here, you can also see how much traffic is being passed. So what the system then does is it then condenses these lines back in together as we're going from our client IP to our application port. So you can see that this client is passing 24.7 terabytes of traffic over our HTTPS, whereas this particular client is also passing traffic over HTTPS, but it's coming from a different individual client, and it's being condensed into a single application port and ultimately ending up at a particular TOS. So what's nice is we're taking lots of data points and we're actually showing you not individually, but then they're being condensed, and I can see, well, if I wanted to know how much HTTPS traffic I had for these particular interfaces, I can look at this and simply know that it's 24.7 terabytes. But if I then want to divvy out and figure out exactly which application that is, I simply just follow it backwards to where we start here at application IP. One of the other things that I particularly like about Sankey diagrams is that you actually can configure how you want these to be represented. So these are built off flow fields that are created or provided to you inside SevOne, but they are very customizable in the sense that once that data is collected, we can decide how we want to represent this. So as an example, say I want to find from a client to an application, but I want to see how we get there. I can simply just drag these down. And now what I've done is I've reconfigured the way that the Sankey diagram works. So now I'm starting at my client IP address. I'm figuring out what application port that traffic is going over, what TOS we're utilizing, and ultimately what application we end up at. So I've taken a particular flow view, reconfigured it for something that I now find more useful, because now I'm starting at a particular client and ending at a specific application, and I can see what we're doing in the middle to get there. So not only are we giving you all of this data available to you in this single pane of glass, but we're also giving you a way to visualize it in a way that makes sense logically for people like myself and others, where I can look at this and now specifically tell you that the fatter the line, the more traffic, and I can find out from what client to what application and how we sort of progress through that.
And you could probably even tell who's watching the NCAA basketball games, aren't you?
Not here. I'm hiding that stuff. You won't find my IP address in here.
That's great. Well, Alec, thanks for taking the time to show off the value of a Sankey diagram. I agree. Right. Back to the picture telling the story. You can really begin to follow and trace things through, where things started and where they're flowing to. So appreciate the time today. And folks, if you have any questions at all about Sankey diagrams or other capabilities of the SevOne network data platform, please reach out to us at sevone.com.